bass, and we're trying to get basically 30 largemouth in one lap around the lake. So what I've got here is these super salt finesse black zoom worms. And I've got my very lightweight Fluinger tackle with a mini ugly stick hooked up to this zoom worm. So I'm gonna do a lap around this little lake. It's not super big, and we're gonna see if we can get 30 bass before the loop actually ends. So that's the game. We'll start off going around leftward today, see if that actually makes a big difference here. You know, it's all about where the sun is sitting. And all I do with these worms is pretty much cast it out there, kind of let it sink for like a good 5 to 10 seconds, because more often than not, when you're bass fishing, they're just gonna pick them up right off the bottom. Nice sunny day out, not super windy right now, which I'm fortunate about. Gotta make sure my drag settings are all up. I've only got one hook on this thing ready to start, so we will see very quickly if it's gonna be enough power to make this thing run. Now let's see. What I do when I go for bass is I like to target lily pads and I like to target docks. So when I'm going around in here, all you really do is try and set yourself up in those specific spots. Especially when it is more sunny, bass are going to be finding like shelter, cover, which means a lot of the fish are going to be probably a little bit deeper water or in those really dark, shady spots, especially early in the day. Right now, they're not as much on the hunt trying to find food, so we have to work with that and put it in their face more directly if we want them to bite. Because bass will eat pretty much the whole day, but like everything, it's pretty much 4 to 9 is the hours of the day to fish, either AM or PM. So those middle hours can be very stagnant. Oh, there may be a nibble for a second. Kind of took at it, but didn't hold very long. I'm gonna just try and do like a little drop. So I'll pull out a little bit deeper from where the fish was sitting, let it sink, and then see if he re-picks it up. Did not that time. For those of you just tuning in, we're throwing black zooms and we're trying to catch 30 largemouth bass in one lap around the body of water we're in. So aiming for these lily pads, we're gonna see. I started off going down to the left and there's more sun on this side, but I think it's windier around the other side. Like there's one, I got one. Yep. Oh, spit the worm back at me. Gotta let him take it a little bit longer, I guess. Not good numbers to start us off. Trying to hit at least 30. And that's like an average when I do a loop around Little Speck here. So pretty much I'll go around throwing out these black zooms. That's like an average number I'll get, but it depends. Like there's a whole bunch of different species in this body of water. You can get like catfish, you can get black crappie, you can get chain pickerel, yellow perch, occasionally white perch. And so when you're trying to mix up for those different species, it's very lure dependent. When I throw these black zooms, it's specifically targeting the largemouth bass. Only very occasionally will you get a pickerel to actually, oh, something picked at it. We're gonna let that sit again for a sec. See if he comes back for it. Did not come back for it. All right, we gotta try and throw underneath this dock. See if someone's sitting under there. Yeah, only very occasionally will the pickerel bite on this worm. And in my experience, that happens. Oh, someone picked that, but I don't think it was a bass. I think a bluegill tried running off with my zoom. Let's cast over there again. Let's sit. I'm gonna tighten down on the drag. I'm only using 12-pound test right now, but that should be enough to get them going and not snap it if I hook something decent. The line you choose for bass fishing and all types of fishing for the leader is very important, and you kind of base that off how aggressive the fish is. So with trout, for example, right, I tend to use like 8 to 12-pound test, because the lighter you are, you know, the more experienced you are, then the more likely the fish is going to bite. They have incredibly good vision, so if they see that line, they can be real picky. Only with lake trout will I go a little heavier, just because they have such massive teeth. But bass fishing, they don't got a whole lot of teeth if you know how to work the drag very good. You can probably get away with like throwing 10 to 12 pound test, and that's going to secure it. So if you try to, basically land flip the bass in the boat when you get yourself a good one, usually it won't snap with you pretty quick. But I think it's best when you get them to the side and just kind of lip them right up out of the water. It's a lot easier than trying to fling them at yourself. Now, let's see if we got somebody sitting over in these patches. Usually this is the only lure I have to use to do pretty good in here. So we'll see why they're being so picky. Gonna let that sink a little deeper. And no matter where you're fishing, if it's a new spot, something that I would highly recommend you do is actually just work shorelines. That's like for basically starting out bass fishing almost anywhere. If you can get yourself out in a kayak, canoe, work along the shorelines and look where there's gonna be that structure. Right now, I'm fishing just